Jazzy Jeff expresses concerns about AI and uses writers' strike as an example.
So there's a post where he says, so the writers and actors are striking to protect their rights from AI. Mm-hmm. But in music, we have an AI Drake and Weeknd song nominated for a Grammy. Then he corrected himself and updated it and said eligible. Mm-hmm. But he says the rest remains the same. So he's pretty much looking at it like, okay, so the writers and actors are striking, but in music, we seem to be cool with these AI records being eligible for Grammys.
Cool about it.
Well, do you think there are some people that it's doesn't bother them that an AI record?
The record execs, because this is the way that they eat now. They're going to tie an artist signing the record deal. Somewhere in the fine print is going to be that we can use AI in order to pretty much take your likeness. And that way I can recoup more money from you, because they don't really need these record labels anymore. Like we talked about, for those that are going to take those deals, I guarantee you there's going to be some kind of AI stuff added in there. So when their artists that they have signed to their label aren't producing what they want to hear, they'll put it out themselves.
You think that's going to become standard?
I can't necessarily say it's going to become standard, but I think it may be an idea that they may be floating around.
I don't even know how like music writers could strike.
Like
you know what I mean? Like
the whole thing is decentralized. There's no union.
That's what I mean. Like it's all over the place, you know? So we talked about this with the idea of unions in the past too. You know what I mean? So it's like,
right. Jeff goes on to say, now I'm totally not against AI. It just needed to be used as a tool, not a replacement.
Correct.
I wish the music people could have the same unity as the writers and actors.
Yes.
But that's just my take.
So to me, that speaks even beyond just, you know, that's like having the unity to have some sort of mechanism to fight, to be able to fight back, which is goes back to our unionization conversation from months ago.
But you know, when we talked about product versus art, you know, yeah, it would be nice if maybe the musicians could get together and figure something out. But they're looking at those writers and actors, and it's like, none of them have been paid in 3 months.
Yeah, and counting.
Yeah,
and counting.
You know, I just saw a thing with Michael Jai White. He had to get some special exemption to promote his movie, The Outlaw Johnny Black.
Really?
To, you know, because he could go, like, he basically, for him, he would have been crossing the picket line, if you will.
Right.
For him to go on and he's talking to like different outlets about it now. He had to get permission to do it. Had to be an independent movie, not go through this or that and third, or else like he would be considered crossing a picket line by even sitting down on a podcast saying, yeah, go see my movie on the 15th. That could be considered a violation, but like he got some sort of exemption for that.
I like Jeff's point about pushing the unity part, coming together. You know, that's dope. But Lone, you made a very good point when you said how with the writers, and because everything is so spread out, and
I don't know
who did what here and there and points and all that. There's a lot that goes into
it. Doesn't again, and it's just like the writer strike. You can still put out independent stuff. You know what I mean? Right. Because they're not utilizing those writers. But I think it's, you know, it all goes back to our favorite topic every week that we always allude to, right? I mean, it's part of chasing the dollar. So to Jeff's point, that would be great, because then you're protecting yourself against those big corporate interests to some degree. But, you know, I don't think that would even affect me. You know, as somebody that's like in the music industry to some degree, I don't think it would like even affect me or a lot of independent artists at all. It would only affect like people on the major label system, like a Drake or or people that are signed to that stuff. I don't.
So who accepts the AI award though? Like, let's say that this actually happens.
The creator of it,
and the AI Drake and Weeknd song is nominated, and they give it away to
whoever programmed it.
That's mad crazy.
So the programmer's got to put on a suit and go get the award, huh?
I'm curious how this is going to go moving forward, man. Like
I am too.
Maybe that'll be the new NFT, because the rest is, you know, selling pictures of monkeys smoking cigarettes. Yeah. You know, that fell apart.
Yeah, how many of y'all got a wallet full of monkey pictures?
Because Justin Bieber had one. He's like, ooh, let me go out and get one too.
Hey, look, the idea of the NFTs are still great.
Yeah,
still a great idea. But
execution was trash though.
You know, I think it's just kind of the hotness of it is just kind of boiled or simmered off. But
it's not going away. It's only going to get, as we've alluded to on previous episodes, it's only going to gain more steam, and there's going to be more ways. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think we just have to figure out how to use AI more as a tool.
Yeah,
as opposed to a crutch.
As a crutch, from a creative standpoint. But I think that's where it's going to lead towards. But there are always going to be people that cross that boundary, and
it's like anything else. It's the good. You're going to have the good and the bad with anything. It's people will quote unquote use it properly. There's always going to be those people that I always say, somebody going to mess it up. There'll be somebody that's going to do something that will be the total opposite, and I guess cause confusion or more conversation.
Nobody's going to show up to these award shows if they start giving awards to AI.
That could be where the resistance comes in. If you nominate these AI people,
boycott,
if then that means Drake, The Weeknd, Beyonce, Billie Eilish, they're not coming.
They're not coming.
You try to have a whole bunch of people on your red carpet show, and you got AI.
Well, let's try to push this so it actually happens.
Yeah.
Because then maybe they'll care enough to actually do something.
Yeah, so that could be your protest. That's how the artist community. You don't if they start acknowledging AI, you don't show up.
Yeah,
I bet that.
See how the ratings go, and then they'll have something to think about.
Oh, a conversation will happen if that happens.
But does that even affect the core music label system though? Does that affect the Sony and the Warner and all that stuff? Does it really?
If people don't show up to
it, kind of will. I think
if they don't show up to the award shows,
that's an advertisement for their whole industry.
You throw a big party and nobody shows up.
I don't know,
because
that's what it is. Because there's a lot of stuff that goes with that too.
I don't think it affects
there's
the capital.
There's a Grammy party. There's all kind of stuff leading up to it.
The Clive Davis
that
party.
Nobody's going to be at.
I get it from an optics standpoint, but I don't think it affects the bottom line really at all.
I think it affects the bottom line from a standpoint of
they're going to sell regardless.
It's marketing. It's marketing. It's almost like a Super Bowl ad.
Yeah,
when these people go to this weekend, they're pushing product and you're representing labels, and there's a lot of that going on for that Grammy.
That's the only reason they're still having an MTV Awards.
Yeah,
right.
I guess if we're talking specifically about awards and AI winning award shows, okay, but I'm speaking more so from the angle of AI being within the music industry itself and actually stopping the AI itself. I don't feel like award shows is going to mess with the bottom line of what these artists are making and what these contracts are producing.
It takes away the power of the award show and the whole committee and everything for y'all even
take this under consideration. Yeah,
that this is something that you should be awarding
from a credibility standpoint.
Right.
That
now
hurts.
Now a Grammy turns into pretty much tinfoil.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah. I do agree with that. It's what's the word? Tarnish. There's definitely some tarnish if you start letting this come in. From the awards, how you look at the awards, it's not the same. Now, we've always spoken about how we feel about the Grammys or whatever, but they're not the same if this starts to, gain some steam, in my opinion.
I guess I still don't see it really affecting the bottom line of any of these major record labels, but maybe I'm wrong.
Somebody's generating some income somehow, or they wouldn't continue to do it.
I'm sure
because at the end of the day, it wouldn't even make sense.
But the Grammys isn't owned. Is the Grammys owned by like these record companies though? You know what I mean?
I don't know who it's owned by, but I know a lot of them are on the board.
There's a company called Naris, and it just represents composers, producers, songwriters. So there's that whole component. Because once they have that one serious moment, like talking about yes, and Naris has done this for this, that, and the third, like where they try to justify some of their other foolishness because of the good things that they do, because capitalism. But
steal all the money and then have a few small donations.
Man,
there you go. But 10%. I once again, it would be so hard because if say those big artists that we mentioned said, hey, we're not going, there'd be somebody who'd be like, I'd love to sit in the front seat of the Grammys.
At the AI Awards.
Yeah.
You're talking about Allen Iverson.
This is my only chance to ever do this when all these other stars won't show up. So I don't know. Because they'll start going down the Rolodex and be like, little Scrappy, what you doing later on?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I still don't.
6ix9ine to show up.
Yeah.
I still don't.
Maybe.
I can think that's probably what I'm getting at. I don't see it really affecting the actual bottom line of and how the record record label industry actually works. Like they're just going to find somebody else to fill the role, and if it's not like adjusting or like somehow affecting their bottom line, like direct bottom line of how they do this stuff.
Don't ratings affect the bottom line?
Yes. Because that's one thing.
I would say
that's
so.
why they keep moving things around now, because the ratings for the Grammys but the ratings for all award shows keep falling off the cliff because of the way people consume television. Like, I don't know if people who watch things through YouTube TV, I don't know if they fill out the diaries the same way. The way the metrics are counted have changed so much, and they change so quickly that I don't, just like I remember one time people were like, oh, the NFL is losing viewership. The NFL isn't losing viewership. Like, you can't think about it. You can't even watch Monday Night Football unless you have cable. It used to be on ABC.
True.
I think we're talking about different things, because at the same time, I don't think that if Drake doesn't show up to the Grammys, it's going to halt Drake's album sales.
No, it's not.
It's not.
But that's my point.
But if nobody shows up to the Grammys,
I still don't think it's going to affect Drake album sales.
no, I don't think it's going to affect anybody's album sales.
But that's
it
will.
affects this group of people, the Grammys, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking that's the direct correlation.
Well, because
not necessarily somebody's album sales.
Whoever wins album of the year, whoever gets song of the year, if it's not somebody that's already Taylor Swift, then the interest in them, their Google searches go up, people start streaming their music. It does change. Like something might be number 87. If they wins album of the year, it shoots back up in the top 10 or top 5. Just like,
because no matter what no matter what our opinion is about the Grammys, to Jay Moore's point, said album of the year person, even if I don't even follow the Grammys like that, other than us maybe talking about the nominations here and there, what we used to, I always ask or look up who won album of the year. And I might even just go down a rabbit hole just to see who said person was at one album of the year. Now you got to magnify that across the globe. I think that's a huge marketing tool. If you're in that area, if you're in that, that level of an award, I think it's very valuable.
Well, because the thing is, everyone, like, for you to get on the Grammys and people say, oh, that was a great performance, the artist's record company, which means coming out of their budget, pay for that performance. Okay. And it's got to be worth it some way, somehow, through the publicity, through added record sales, through additional streams now, for them to say, okay, for this 7 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever, where our artist is going to be featured on stage at the Grammys, it has to make sense financially for us. So if they can't get anybody to, maybe not to show up, maybe not to walk the red carpet, but if they can't get anybody to perform, to pay to perform, that's going to be a real problem.
Maybe, you know what, to Lone, to your point, maybe it's levels of problem, or it's levels, however you want to quantify how bad it'll be or how big of an impact it'll be. Maybe the impact is, maybe it's just the levels of impact. Maybe you're thinking it's not that big. Or
no, it's not even that. I just look at it as a small fries in comparison to like of the things that are actually going to affect the bottom line. Because regardless of who wins these Grammys, no matter who wins, the record labels are still getting paid, no matter who it is. So if you take all of everything away, people are still going to be streaming the music. It's not going to, it might not hyper focus on one particular artist on this label, but instead it's going to be focused on all these other artists through other marketing stuff that they do, still related to whatever the music industry decides to pivot to, which they will, or the labels pivot to. They're going to. So they're going to allocate that budget to something else. So I don't know. I get what your guys are coming at. I guess I just fundamentally disagree.
I mean, look, all of this at the end of the day are just some wild hypotheticals.
For sure.
But we're here to have the discussion. So that's the point of a podcast, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not here to agree all the time anyway. So that's the point of discussion. Like,
somebody actually commented, do you guys always agree on everything?
Hey, man.
They clearly don't watch this. They clearly don't watch this.